Welcome back to The Road to City Hall. As we have been telling you, the union representing school bus drivers and matrons has decided to strike on Wednesday. It's a labor stoppage that could affect more than 150,000 children. The main sticking point in the negotiations for months now has been seniority provisions, which city officials say they legally are not permitted to honor or to continue. Joining me now to talk more about this is Amalgamated Transit Union Local 1181 President Michael Cordiello. Also with us is school bus driver and a member of the union's executive board, Renee Jean-Louis. Good to see both of you. I know it's a sort of a tense and difficult time, but just to lay this out, we carried your press conference live, and what you were talking about is something that's been going on really for 30 years now, these seniority provisions. Explain a little bit to our folks why or exactly how that works and why it's so important to you.
Well, how the EPP works is it protects the senior experienced labor force for safety reasons for the children of New York City, and they were instituted in 1979 to end a 14-week strike. And what it does is, first and foremost, is a priority in hiring. No new employee can be hired into the school bus system until all the experienced existing employees are hired back first, and that's the basis of it. And you know,
so as just as a practical example, if the city is contracting with Company A, and then they decide they want to go with Company B instead, Company A's employees, those same drivers, those same bus matrons, have to sort of come over and keep their seniority and essentially the same pay.
What happens is they go onto a master list by seniority order, tenure in the industry, and union. I should mention that this is not just protection for union workers; it's a protection for non-union workers and people who are in other unions. If a non-union worker is high on that master list, they get the job first. But that's correct.
And so, I mean, what the city has contended is that this arrangement prevents them from getting the lowest possible price. Because, again, Company B, in my hypothetical example, they don't know what they should bid, and it's really hard to undercut Company A because all of Company A's employees, which is the major expense that they've got, are going to come over and have their seniority honored anyhow, right?
Well, it doesn't increase cost because it's the same cost. It doesn't increase.
Sure. Well, the point is you can't push the cost down, I guess, is
not on
what
the
the city
back
is
of
saying.
working people or associated with the safety of the children of the city of New York. I mean,
okay. And let me ask you, Renee Jean-Louis, how long have you been in this business?
Okay, I've been in this industry for about over 40 years.
Over 40 years?
Yes.
So it's about the only thing you've done. I want to say you must have started when you were about 5 or something, right?
No, not really, no.
Okay,
no,
so what are the different jobs that you have done?
Okay, I was doing filing for Wall Street somehow, yeah. I can't recall the company at that point, the company's name, Aetna, yes. And then after that I came to the industry.
Okay,
yes,
and what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Before I was an escort.
An
yes,
escort.
Taking
Okay,
care of
what
the special as an attendant on the bus, taking care of the children. Okay, so that's what I was. Then after that, I switched over to a driver, and so that's what we do. Yes.
Okay. And so after, I mean, with 40 years in the business, I don't want to get into your personal business unless you feel like telling us. But roughly, what is somebody who's been for a generation in this business? What kind of salary are they making?
When I first started on this industry, I was making less than $20 an hour, really. When I mean as a driver, really, as a driver. And then the salary moved up for 6 years and came to the top rate.
Okay.
But when I left, it was still about $21, per hour.
$21 an hour.
Yeah, yes.
That translates into about $800 a week, about $40,000 a year. Is that about right?
That's when she came up to the
When
executive
I came to
board.
the board, yes.
If you want to talk about current rates, the current average yearly salary, if you combine matron and driver, is approximately $35,000 to $38,000 a year. A top driver can make $51,000 a year, and a top matron makes only about $28,000 a year. So we're not talking about, we're talking about a living wage in New York City, sometimes actually maybe a little below a living wage.
when the city says that we are spending in New York City something on close to $7,000 per child per year, and that is much higher than what is paid in other cities, it doesn't seem to be going to the drivers or the matrons. Where's that money going?
I think, that's an interesting question because we don't know. We're making, our increases have been on average, cost of living, very close to what the MTA has done over that period of time. In fact, we're a little under what the MTA has done over that period of time. Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. Where's the money going? I can tell you that there were 2,000 routes in 1979, and now there's approximately 7,000 routes. So it could be the increase of the service that the city is providing.
Is it, before we take a break, is it your position that there are no cost savings to be had, or that it just shouldn't be done in this way by going after the seniority?
I think competitive bidding with the EPP could incur cost savings just as well. There's no evidence provided that in fact it does cost more. In fact, the city of New York argued in its case in Supreme Court that EPP does not increase the cost. And
yeah, I was reading through it, and they seem to have done a 180 on that. I want to talk about that and some more issues. We'll be back in just a second as we talk more about the strike that is coming up. And then later on, our Monday Consultants Corner will dig into President Obama's tough words about the debt ceiling debate. Stay with us.